we were trying to haul bulls out to the pastures because it's that time of year for us. So we were doing that, and the alternator failed or got a direct short. The voltage gauge went to 8, or the lowest it could go as possible, and the truck died or shut off, and we could not get it restarted, no voltage. So I was at the shop working, so I got in another pickup and went, and we thought, well, let's jump the pickup to try to get it started. We put jumper cables on it, and the alternator started smoking, or in the alternator area. So it started smoking, so we didn't want to cause any more melted wires or anything like that, so we took the jumper cables off and then just drug the truck off in a field, and we hooked the pickup I brought up to it and continued hauling bulls out because it was that time of year and we had to get it done before dark and the next couple days. So we pressed on. So I guess hopefully you guys like the video, and we'll try to explain as much as possible. If you have any questions, just comment below and we'll be happy to answer them. Alright guys, so we're working on the 5500. We were hauling cows with it yesterday, and it just died. It died on the rock road. Hopefully you guys can see that up there. So then we had to get a different truck and hook the trailer up and keep on hauling cows. But we just drug this truck down here because there was a direct short somewhere, so the windows were down and it wouldn't even start or turn over. So we just drug it down here, and we went to town to buy a new alternator, but since the batteries were completely flat, we're jumping this battery, so we'll hopefully have some battery power when we get ready. And Winston just got the alternator off, which goes, hopefully I can show you guys this, right there. You can see the bottom bracket right there, and then the top bracket right there is kind of behind some wiring under there. So we got that, but to do that we had to take the air box out, which is not a big deal. Then it just gave us more room.
Also, guys, before Justice runs off with the camera, these are the two bolts that hold the alternator on. They're 15mm bolts, so you'll need a 15mm deep well socket with a ratchet is what I use. And then also it takes a 1/2-inch wrench to get the actual juice cable or the electricity surge cable off. And then there is one electrical plug-in on the alternator itself.
And then this alternator that was on it, if the camera will focus here, is a Dinslow, that number. So then also we brought two from the parts store. The gentleman from the parts store said if you do not get the right one, the voltage is monitored through the ECM, and if you do not get the right one, it will blow the ECM or hurt the computer or stuff like that. So you guys got to make sure you get the right one. So we are checking here, so we brought both of them, you can see. So yeah, that's what we're up against right now, so we'll keep going and give you guys an update a little further along. So why we are replacing the alternator is we think in the alternator some spot it has a direct short somewhere, so it would just ground out the truck and die or kill the truck completely without any voltage. So that's why we're replacing the alternator. So that's your connection, battery connection, stuff like that.
Alright, so I thought I'd show you guys, well, we've got all three of them out here, meaning the used one and the other two. We were going to go with a higher ampage rate, which was 220 amps. And this is this alternator, and this is the 100, and I believe it's 136 amps, which is the highest you can get until you go to 220 or 224. So I thought I'd show you the differences. They said, like Justice explained earlier about burning out the ECM, the differences on brackets even. The brackets, if you guys can see the difference between, this is the old one, which is the same as this new one, but the brackets, if you can see, are completely different. I mean, they would mount with a whole different mounting system, so there's no way that would ever fit. The belt pulley's also different, and the electrical plug-in's different. So, with that said, guys, and the electrical piece up here is different. So you could not put this alternator on a Dodge 5500 2009 model without getting some extreme modifications, unless, of course, ours is just a oddity or the person before us that owned it changed something in there.
Alright, so we're installing the new correct alternator. Also, to do this project, you have to take the serpentine belt off, which is the belt
Right here, if you can see that.
there that runs with the fan, the air conditioner, the alternator, stuff like that. And to do that, you have to loosen the tensioner. And to do that, you need a 1/2-inch drive swing handle or a ratchet. I used a ratchet because that was the best, and the fan shroud was in the way. So that's what I used. So now we're just gonna get this installed, and hopefully she runs.
Alright, so if y'all can see, Justice is working on putting the battery clamps back on the posts. We've now got the other battery charging, and we put the air box back in. You can see that. You can see the alternator, new one down in there. That's why we took it all out. We unplugged these wires here on the air box just because it was a lot easier to get it and give us a little bit more room. So I guess right now, after Justice gets done with putting the battery cables all back on, we're going to see if it'll start. Alright, so y'all can see that the truck's not started yet. When we actually it died on us, and when it died, it was all the way over in red 8. It had no power whatsoever. We put the ohm-meter on and it still had no power. So let's see if it starts and keeps continuous power when we unhook the jumper cables. Now Justice is gonna go unhook the cables. Just hope it keeps the same power. Actually, the gauge never even went down, so you can see the alternator's already making 14, actually almost 15 volts, which is good. Now it's pulling down. It's just working on charging the batteries now. Alright, so we've got our ohm meter out here. We're going to test the battery. It's running 14.51, as you can see, so that's pretty good. Let's go to the passenger side. The alternator actually charges off the passenger side, so this is what we're key. Actually, that black line right there is what you can see. And it is running 14.6569, you can see there. That's just perfect. I mean, that's what we wanted. So awesome. The alternator charges on the passenger side battery. You always want to jump it on the driver's side because that's where the starter sucks off of. So the alternator, the circle is, the alternator charges it to this battery, then it goes from this battery across with a cable to the driver's side battery, and then it goes to the starter. So you always, if you're going to jump somebody else, you want to go to the passenger side. If you want to get jumped, you go to the driver's side if you've got dual batteries. It helps definitely on quick current getting the place you want it to be getting to.
Hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, comment if you guys would. Also, you guys can follow us on Instagram. That's Cowboy Ranch Life channel. Hopefully you guys have an awesome week and be safe.